I think we're gonna start and kick it off. We lost Josh, but he's beaming in from space, so that's kind of par for the course.
Yeah.
So I think we should get started.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Space Plus Meet the Team Town Hall. And joining me on stage today, we have Emily, the director of Space Plus. So welcome everyone to space.
Welcome to space. Hey everyone, my name is Emily Higgins and I am the director of Space Plus. We're so happy you're here. And for those of you who may have only recently heard about us, Space Plus is a Web3 project by a public aerospace company called Uplift Aerospace that is aiming to provide greater access and diversity to space. So we're using NFTs as our out of this world platform to give greater access to space for private citizens like you and me, and the most incredible experiences that we have in our solar system. So really trying to democratize access to space. And we're able to leverage our position within the aerospace industry as a company with agreements that we already have in place with organizations like NASA, Blue Origin, and Sierra Space Co. To offer some of the most unique personal and educational experience, from astronaut panels to zero gravity flights, which we just did in March with a few of our community members. And to suborbital space flights, payload space on the International Space Station, and just so much more that we have planned coming up. So for those of you who are new, just welcome to the community. You guys are joining, honestly, at the perfect time. We're just beginning to ramp things up before our project drops. So the wait is almost over, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. And I also want to welcome from, actually, I don't think, is Josh back? Oh yeah, here he is. Sorry. Inviting Josh up to speak. But I can actually bounce it over to Chris from 97th Floor, who is the founder and chairman of this incredible company, a world-renowned digital marketing agency based in Lehigh, Utah. So welcome, Chris. Can you give us a little bit of background on yourself and your role in the project development?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, I'm a founder and chairman of 97th Floor. I started, was a Web 2 digital marketing agency, started in 2004. Definitely starting to do a lot of Web 3 stuff as well, since I went down the rabbit hole hard last July. And then my role on Space Plus is overseeing all the collabs with the projects that we've partnered with, the marketing strategy, and just helping out on all things strategy around attributes and design and stuff like that too. Been incredibly honored to work with Continuum and stoked for you guys to hear a lot of background around the art today, which hopefully, as you can see from our tease yesterday, is pretty insane. And I can't wait for you to see the rest of the classes as we roll them out.
Yeah, so excited. And shout out to our community members, Maverick, Blue Diamond, and Jay, who are actually rocking the sneak peeks, PFPs. These are medics. So if you guys haven't checked that out yet, definitely stop by Space Plus. You can tap on Emily's face and you can see the sneak peeks there. And feel free to change your profile pictures as well to show your support. And welcome to Josh, who is the CEO of Uplift Aerospace and an accomplished executive with a passion for expanding access to space. Honestly, you guys, like, my favorite part is when Josh goes off on his super fun space facts tangents. And he also serves as president of an ocean conservation nonprofit. So welcome, Josh. Can you briefly introduce Uplift and how Space Plus fits into its mission?
Thanks, Caroline. Appreciate the introduction and wonderful to be here with everybody. I can say the last 2 days have been just absolutely incredible. We've been building this project. It's been in the dream works for about 2 years. And then to finally be able to start showing people what we've been building with regards to the artwork, collaborations. Today we announced that we're one of Coinbase's launch partners and we're one of the first projects to get the blue check. I think probably everybody on this call realizes how big of a deal that is, and a lot of that's thanks to Chris, 97th. But mostly today's call is about Continuum and the artwork for Space Plus, and I think love to get into the storyline and maybe just to highlight Caroline's question, Uplift Aerospace. So we've been around since about 2017, and our goal is to be able to connect the economies between Earth and space. So we think Web3 has incredible applications, and this is sort of our first step, is to be able to bring in a Web3 community through NFTs and use them as a membership token to really, really incredible experiences. But what we think the future looks like is NFTs facilitating a lot of the access for people in space. And then also, if you can't access physical goods in a location, if it's prohibited or whether it's mass or volume, to be able to have something that facilitates that transaction and easily verifies ownership that's decentralized. NFTs are a cool platform. So this is the beginning of what we envision the future to look like, and we're excited to be here with everybody.
Amazing. Thanks, Josh. And the main event, joining us today, we have the art development team with Michael as the head of that for Continuum XR. So Michael, I'll just let you introduce yourself and how you became inspired to join the Space Plus team.
All right, yeah. Well, I just got to preface all this by the fact that I am not an individual. We have quite the creative team behind me. We've got 17 employees and growing fast, who do everything from 3D art, 2D art, Solidity development, VR, virtual reality, augmented reality, 3D animation, games. Really an awesome team. So I am just one of many that have been stoked to work on this project. Chris knows my business partner, Spencer. They go way back, and they were talking NFTs. We've been working on NFTs here at Continuum naturally, with our background in art development and kind of being a little bit more on the cutting edge of art to a degree with virtual reality and augmented reality. So it's probably about 2 years ago at this point that we started working on our first NFTs. But yeah, so Chris introduced us to Josh and Emily. We started talking about it, and we just couldn't be more stoked about working on NFTs that get you access to space. So that real world access to space was certainly the game changer for us, and we were more than happy to jump on board and start putting the full force of our creative team behind this project. So we've been really excited since day one, and it's continued to just get more and more exciting as we've found out more about the project. We've gotten to know Uplift Aerospace better and the amazing things they have ahead that, we obviously can't talk about some of those things, but every time I hear an announcement or talk to Josh or anyone on the team, I just get pretty stoked about everything that's coming down the pipe. So yeah, that's how I got started. I don't know how much more you want me to go into about where we've gone and where we're going and everything.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Caroline's muted, but I think she's having a little bit of a connection trouble there. So that's amazing. Thanks so much for joining us today, Michael.
Yeah, happy to be here.
I think let's just jump right away into how the art's being developed and taking us through the process with the team, sort of how we began and how we worked together to get to where we are.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we, I guess when we first started, we knew that this, to be able to create tens of thousands of NFTs and create the diversity that we were going to want to create. My background's in animation, so I used to work in the movie industry on these giant render farms. I would work on movies like, I remember there's a movie called Epic. I worked at Blue Sky Studios, Fox Animation, and I remember there was times where we'd kick off renders and for these images. And in a movie, you get 24 images per second, and for a single image, it was taking about 60 hours for some of these images to come back. And just doing some quick cowboy math, if you're going to do that with PFP images, that's gonna be about 4 months of render time, which was pretty much more than the entire production that we were going to have for this. So knew that wasn't an option. So right away knew we were going to have to use something like Unreal. So Unreal Engine, that's a gaming engine for those who aren't familiar, provides real-time rendering as well as cinematic rendering. And so very early on decided to go the Unreal route. We took our creative artists here and started coming up with some concept art. And man, the amount of just concept art and design that went into this before we even started modeling anything was pretty impressive. I mean, I don't know how many different paths we went down to figure out just the right blend of attachments and diversity and classes and style, and something that was going to be both, you know, accessible from the sense of we want people to feel like these are real astronauts that are representative of them, but also they got to be fun, right? Like you can't just have just boring similar astronaut suits that just looks like a blue jumpsuit and a glass helmet. So coming up with that nice mixture and that blend of creative yet unique and fun. I mean, you guys really have only seen, I guess, totally at this point, four of the PFPs, but our generator at this point mathematically can kick out billions of different avatars with what we've got. And
hey, Mike, what is that number at currently? How? Let's just throw that out, everybody, because I love it when you talk about. I think it's hilarious. How many?
Yeah.
How many possible unique combinations are we at now with all the different traits?
So last I checked, it was at like 122 billion, I think, when we do all of the math. Now that said, you'd have a lot that were too similar. So, but yeah, we have enough attributes and variations to technically make over 100 billion, and that number continues to grow. So I think that will go ahead.
I want to just jump in there just to give everybody a preference of why we are even approaching that crazy amount is, I think, because of what we wanted in the very beginning is like Michael was saying, something different, but we want to tether everything that we do within this metaverse and storyline narrative that we're building out to a very realistic feeling. And to accomplish that, there has to be a really high degree of quality within the traits, and then also a high number of traits. And Continuum has been amazing in their willingness to see that vision through. And we're just, like one of the things I'm most excited about is for people to start seeing what we have created. Like it is absolutely like astonishing, the quality. Like if you just zoom into the pictures, for example, that's one of my favorite things to do, or when we go and visit Continuum, to sit there in front of the generator, it's almost like a game to see what it outputs, because it's all randomly generated, and to be able to see the quality, and then just know that what you're seeing is probably the first and maybe also the last that you ever see that random generation happen. So it's just I think in that regard, it's a really unique aspect of the creative process. And I also want to add in, just for everybody's references, is Michael's team has put in an astonishing amount of work also is in making sure that the concepts and the narratives, that they all match up. And Michael, maybe I can let you speak more to that process and how you've done that, and maybe the panels we've put together with experts and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, when we first started, it was, we're all very nerdy over here. Most artists are. And so like Star Wars and Star Trek and just sci-fi nerds in general. And so really we were stoked about working in space, but just making sure though that we reined back into a real world, because this is got real world utility. So we didn't want to create just things that were too crazy, but at the same time wanted to make sure that we had things that were exciting and engaging. And over time, we realized that the idea that you would have these holographic projections, similar to like maybe an Instagram filter, or another way of kind of representing yourself when you're all wearing these similar suits, that was kind of a narrative that naturally evolved. And it was pretty cool because we brainstormed, we kind of figured, and not much of that is represented in these first drops. These are more kind of floor-based images, but it was kind of cool when we came to the conclusion that we were going to kind of have these representations that weren't necessarily like these giant physical attachments to your body that wouldn't make sense as an astronaut out in space, but these kind of more holographic representations of either clothing or hair or accessories or things that we think would be dope. Well, I don't know if we're allowed to say who we were speaking to exactly, but it was an industry expert who's currently sending people to outer space from one of the. So, Josh, you can correct me if we're allowed to mention who we were talking to. But anyways, we were talking to him about a project, and it was like in 5 seconds that she basically was like, "Hey, do you know what'd be cool is if you guys could like represent your personality, differentiate the avatars with like holograms or something like that, because I feel like that's what's going to happen in the future." So it was like our whole entire team. We were with 97th floor and Uplift. We were all thinking about this. We came up with this concept and thought it was great. And then an engineer who was based in space came with it completely independently when we were presenting our project to them. And so obviously it was just validation that creative process was one that resonated with the real world. And so that's just like one of many of these like achievements that I would say that have been really rewarding along the way, to know that we are creating a drop that is going to look so awesome. And so when we create these generator drops just for our internal team to look at and see how things are looking with diversity, it's so fun to look through them. There's like not two that look alike, but at the same time, there is this real world tether that we've been conscientious of, like really almost since day one, to make it be like, hey, this could be what we look like when we're in space, 10 or 20 or 100 years from now, whenever that ends up being. I'm hoping closer to 10. So yeah, Josh, I don't know if that answers your question or if you want to add to any of that part of the narrative.
No, I think that was great. Did anybody else have a hard time hearing parts of that?
There were a couple little blips, but I didn't have too much trouble hearing Michael. You had a few little times where you paused, Michael, but I think I got most of it.
I'll just to make sure everybody heard that, because I think that's really important. What you were saying, Michael, is that we spent a lot of time in development making sure that we were consulting with experts from regards to the design of the characters to the traits. We've gone through many iterations to get to the point we're at, and really what it is we're trying to envision what the future looks like. And our narrative, if you go to our website, you can see it there, is that we believe the future is, a lot of it is based in the hype word Web3, that AR, VR will have important aspects of how we engage as communities between Earth and space. Blockchain, NFTs will have a lot of utility and usefulness, I think, more than probably anywhere else. Those technologies are going to help facilitate commerce and economy between Earth and low Earth orbit, and then even beyond. So I think that was sort of a summary of what Michael just said, for those who may have not heard parts of it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Josh, for that great recap. And Michael, again, your team is doing such beautiful and brilliant work. And as you guys can see, the sneak peeks that some of our team and community members are rocking, these are specifically the medics. So we'd love to hear, since there are essentially like an incredible amount of variations, are there rarities assigned to like specific variations? Can we get a little bit more alpha of maybe like what specifically is a medic, I guess, like attribute that we can like kind of explore, and what other attributes are coming through that people could be expecting?
Yeah, for sure. I'll just let you guys stop me if I start saying too much about this process, but I'm happy to talk through it, and hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm sorry, I must be breaking up a little bit. But yeah, so as far as classes are determined at this point, if you guys, I don't know how many of you can actually see the avatars within the space, but right now the avatars we've released all have the default medic body design. So that kind of cross that's meant to represent the standard medic type cross, it's on each of the bodies. I'm talking about that glowing cross that's like right on the chest plate. And so there are That is the default. And then you see the patch on the right shoulder, or I guess is that the left shoulder? Yeah, that's right shoulder. It's also got that same cross, and in the helmet itself, you can see that cross is also designed into that kind of almost like a boxy type helmet. And the idea there was that this medic suit kind of was mimicked a little bit after some like hazmat suits, more or less, that we use here on Earth. So that was the kind of some of the initial design, is mixed in with some of our favorite sci-fi movies and references as well. And so that is kind of what the floor medic attributes entail. So as far as the other classes go, the helmets, the patch, and the default design, those would be kind of the things that differentiate them. There is also a narrative behind the different classes. I don't think we've released all 5 classes yet. I don't know if that's something I can mention.
Maybe
we have not.
Maybe just throw out for alpha, for people who are listening, one other class just for kicks and giggles.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll just I mean, this was a long time ago that we revealed. So my PFP is just the black and white version of that first reveal image. That would be the Explorer class, and I love that we
love it.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite, just because this was something that Josh brought up very early on. We needed to have a class that was going to resonate with most everybody, right? Because I don't have a medical degree or a law degree, or I'm not a scientist, or I'm not, an engineer. I'm not these types of people that have to have this deep level of background, that we come to be that we're used to with so many of the people who are going out, and making these rockets and stuff. I'm just an explorer. I just want to go out there and see what's out there and discover new worlds. And so really stoked about the Explorer class, and that's what I'm currently rocking.
And I think it's important to note that we're in this new space age where there are regular citizens going to space that do not have, specific degrees that have been the ones that traditionally have gone to space. And that was something we really wanted to lean into, is that, the future in space for humanity includes everybody. And I think the fact that space is this amazing frontier, that we're seeing this massive private push to explore, that really does capture the minds and the hearts of everybody. And you can see yourself in all of these roles, Josh, I don't know if you want to add in a little bit there in terms of the narrative and humanity in space.
No, I think what you just said was beautifully stated, and maybe to speak more to some of the alpha we just dropped in that new video. Hopefully everybody saw it this morning and loved it. Shout out to Emily for an incredible job narrating that. So to that point, I think we've hinted to it, but we really haven't covered it yet, is the value of AR for the future. Everybody in space most likely is going to be wearing jumpsuits, and that's because you have mass and volume restrictions. So, as AR technology and VR technology increases, year by year, it's amazing, like the leaps and bounds in technology that's happening right now. And I think it makes a lot of sense, and this is really our storyline right here, is that the clothing that we wear in space will most likely communicate with those around us. We'll be wearing these, whether it's a space suit and these sort of AR built-in HUD systems will receive information from somebody else's clothing. It'll say, hey, I want you to view me this way. I want my personality to come across this way. And that's really the big alpha that the video was sharing. And I think maybe I can help explain a little better during this space is that is the future. And what's cool is I think for those who are really ingrained in what's happening in Web3 right now, you can see really big fashion brands making that move already. You have Nike, who bought up Artifact. Louis Vuitton just came out with their NFT project. So I think what's cool is Space Plus is on the cutting edge of that. And we're integrating that into our storyline because we want people, that's how we want our project to be seen. Is, we really are pioneering what the future will look like in space. And we're starting here with this Web3 community and our art concepts and these NFTs. So I hope more than anything else, that's probably what I am most excited about, is this narrative and how we've integrated Web3 into what we think the future will look like visually. Hey, Chris, I want to get your thoughts on that too, just around the art and what you're stoked about.
Yeah, we've been, it's crazy how many hours have gone into thinking about this. And then when we got that panel, it was really awesome to hear feedback from actual people that work at like the most insane space aerospace companies on the planet, and how instantly they had this feedback that just helped us solve a lot of problems around, the biggest issue we're going to have when we all go to space is mass. And so we're not going to be able to have bring all our trinkets and all our stuff with us and have all this extra stuff or different suits and things. I mean, the suits are more for survival, so they're going to be very similar in terms of mass and and how they work and all that stuff. And so because of Web3, because of internet connectivity, AR, all that stuff, we're going to customize them through our HUD displays and through digital. And I would very much want to be displaying my Bored Ape or my Moonbird or my Space Plus, on my screen for people to see me, depending on my mood that day or things like that when we're walking around. And so we really want to kind of we've been thinking a lot about that. Another thing I think that's really important to talk about too on this panel that we had, it was also very diverse. So we wanted to make sure we represented everybody as well. And so we had, and we have another kind of survey going out right now as well. But we wanted to make sure that, like Michael said, a lot of us are, nerdy guys. Like it's awesome to have Caroline and Emily and and we actually have a lot of women on the team, which is really awesome. And then we've made sure we talk to a lot of people and have a lot of representation from diversity out there. And that's been really awesome to get feedback and totally been eye-opening on certain things, stuff that I hadn't even thought about when we were going through trends and then and traits, and then they get brought up and it's like, oh yeah, that's awesome. And that makes sense. And I love to hear that, side of you. So that's been really cool and really fun as well. I can't overstate how many hours have gone into and how methodical the design of these have been. And obviously we can see that that's being, people can understand that with the reaction that we had just from dropping our base medics, guys. Like this is literally one class and our base starting point on design. Like just get ready through this weekend and next week. Like it's insane what's coming and it's really fun. And I think it'll be really cool. And I'm more than confident there'll be a avatar to represent everyone. Everyone will be able to find something that they love and that will represent them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because we've shared so little of our art so far, and maybe this is a fun bit of alpha, but like our female avatars are the most badass. Like they are so cool.
Yeah, so excited.
And I think that's something that a lot of projects don't really take into consideration a whole lot. They're a little bit more androgynous or maybe not included. But it was something that we thought was really important, was that everyone, kids and parents and individuals could look at our avatar collection and see themselves within some of the PFPs. So just a little bit of alpha there for you. There's some really cool art coming up.
Love that. And honestly, what's really fun about that is it's really like there's math behind it, right? The amount of traits that we're working on and the different combinations, it's literally like everything is going to look pretty much unique. And I'm sure people will be able to find a trait that really resonates with them. And I think that's so powerful about this space is using the avatars as a way to move around in the metaverse and hopefully in literal outer space at some point. But this is just like an incredible connection between the two. So thank you guys. We do have a fun question. And Chris did share, but throwing this out to the panel, what AR would people see if they look at you in this future narrative of humanity in space? So Chris did, throw out that he would love to rock his Bored Ape and his Moonbird. Is there like anything else that you would want people to know about you underneath those helmets that they see
Well,
you?
what's crazy, I mean, I think we'll probably have our wallet connected to our suits or something. Like, who knows with how it's going to be. But I mean, custodial ownership is definitely going to be there. And it's, there's nothing more close to like international currency and international anything than what's going on in Web3 and wallets and self-custodianship and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably have it set to respond or be different based off of where I was, and what I was doing, or just the mood I'm in, or maybe have it like rotate through, or who knows. But yeah.
I think that's such a good point, Chris, this is just the beginning of the technology. We don't claim to say this is what it's going to be, but we do strongly feel that this is the future, and it's changing the way that humanity interacts as a community. And we're going to continue to see rapid developments just like we have over the last basically 5 years. So that's what I think is so exciting about this time right now, is those people who are in the space realize that how quickly things are changing and how powerful the technology is. And what's fun is, we don't have to be right on what the future looks like, but the fact that we're involved in it and that we're pushing it forward and we're trying to change things and make things better is what counts.
Absolutely. So what would your AR be, Josh?
Man, it could be anything. And I guess that's what's fun is, like Chris said, it could be how I'm feeling. For some people, maybe I have them see me some way. For other people, maybe I have them view me a different way. My parents see one aspect of my AR, and my kids see another, and my wife
like,
don't tell us what your wife
for work
sees.
For sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
For sure, the AR my wife sees would be different than
Oh my
than my Bored Ape or something else going out.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I think I love the idea of bringing the things that we love from Earth into space personally, like using space as an opportunity to showcase the best of what we have on Earth and why Earth is worth preserving and conserving, and celebrating the amazing resources and communities that we have on Earth. So I don't know. I guess I'd want like vines or mushrooms or something growing out of me, or like corals growing out of my head, or something that just showcases the phenomenal life that we have on Earth and brings a little piece of that into space. I think would be my choice. What about you, Caroline?
So this conversation has really got me thinking, like, even outside of how people view me, I would love them to have an experience when they get within range of me, kind of like along the lines of what you're sharing, Emily. Like, I love being by the water or being by the beach. So when people like meet me out, like maybe they'll see, like, we'll be transported to a beach scene. So when you guys hang out with me, we'll always be at the beach. I think that would be so fun.
That's awesome. Caroline's always an experience, guys, for those of you who haven't spent a lot of time with her.
But Michael, I would love to hear what you would do, since you and your team are really behind creating this experience for Space Plus.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, if I had to go out and have an avatar right now, I'd love to have like a xenomorph from the Alien franchise. So we definitely have some like subtle nods to sci-fi. I'm just a big sci-fi nerd, so we don't at least not yet have a xenomorph planned in the drop, but we do have nods to some of our favorite movies that are pretty subtle. You might pick them up if you're as big a nerd as me. But yeah, I'd probably be something from a movie from my childhood, because that's kind of what led me into the whole movie industry and gaming industry and everything. But there's some pretty sick designs on the body that we have going that kind of they feel like the almost stylistically like the movie Tron, like the most recent movie Tron, but at the same time they feel very unique and like customizable. So we've got and this was actually one of Emily's ideas, and I love that we've been able to incorporate it. But we do have like animal print, like glowing animal print. So that's a little bit of alpha there for you. That's going to be kind of some of the more rare stuff, but it really will allow people to have that personality within their suits in a way that's kind of meant to be more digital, and less, I guess, physical in their appearance. And there's just a lot of designs that I'm excited for people to see that will make, you've seen the default medic one, but those body designs will really help kind of differentiate your avatar. And there's a lot of designs, and we continue to add more and more every day, which is pretty fun.
And I will say, just to add to that, we're going to be bringing the community in over the next week or so to get a bit of feedback on their opinions on what, how they would portray themselves in space and what they would want AR to look like in space. So a little bit more detail on that later, but we'll just drop a bit of a teaser here now. We definitely want to know what the community, how the community would see themselves in space and how AR would represent that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
Sorry, I was going to say the way we built the art, we'd love to get not just like feedback, but actually hoping to get some input and maybe even some designs that we can incorporate from the community, because it'd be very easy to do, almost as if we were doing like a custom T-shirt and stuff. So that's one of the parts that we've built out in such a way that it's dynamic enough that we can incorporate a lot and take that feedback from the community to know what you guys want to have on your avatar. So anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, Michael, that is really great insights. And I was just gonna say, like, guys, like, you didn't just show up for an AMA, but you also showed up for some homework. So definitely, dig deep. Any of those, like Michael had said, some influences from your favorite sci-fi movies or regular movies, like anything that you love about space or Earth, or just signifies what you really enjoy and what sets you apart from everybody else. Because as you've heard here, part of the alpha is there's a billion different kind of combinations, and part of like what
I gotta correct that, Caroline. I think Michael said there's 120 billion.
Oh, 100, yes. Okay.
There you go.
120 billion. So literally everybody on this planet could have an avatar. But yeah, so get your traits together, guys. Like, hang out in our Discord. You can click on Space Plus. Emily is the host to the left of me. So join the Discord, get in there, get your mood boards ready. We're so excited to bring the community in on this. And we were actually like speaking on this a little bit earlier, on all these different, innovations with art in the NFT space. But we'd love to dig a little bit deeper. Like, where do you guys see the art going with NFTs and Web3 in general? And how are you incorporating those innovations, not only in this project specifically, but like the future of Space Plus?
I can speak to the technical side of that, but vision-wise, I'd love to hear Chris and Josh chime in as well. But I mean, all of these assets that we're creating, they are 3D game-ready assets built in Unreal, and that's where a lot of the metaverse and VR experiences are being created today. So, I mean, we are looking at this from a long-term roadmap. And when Josh first talked to me about that vision, I knew that we were going to have to create these assets, not just in 3D, but in such a way that they could have a longer life than just these initial static images that will be the PFPs. So these assets, they're not just meant for this one drop. They're meant for a long-term play. And I think that's what we're seeing ever since the metaverse became such a trendy word in the past year. We were kind of already building it out, at least here at Continuum. We've been building out this metaverse space for a while. We just didn't know that's what everyone was going to call it. With augmented reality and virtual reality, I mean, we're working on VR games for the Quest. We're working on AR experiences. We did over 50 last year, and so we knew how to create these assets for what would be a long-term play. So, yeah. Anyways, I'll stop talking, but that's kind of how I see these assets and project moving forward.
Chris or Josh, do you want to speak on a little bit more on the art going into NFTs and how we're incorporating new innovations to not only this specific drop, but the future of Space Plus?
Yeah, I think with regards to the art, there's a common misconception that an NFT to be successful has to have utility. And I see, there's sort of like this push to get back out and just remind everybody that art itself, high art and quality art, is utility. And it is something that we need to celebrate, be grateful for, and continue to push. I think that's probably my favorite part of what NFTs have done is that it has given power back to creators. And with regards to art and your question, Caroline, I think that's what we'll continue to see is that NFT technology, it gives creators the power to create, and hopefully we'll see sort of and I think we are seeing a renaissance in the art industry just because of NFT tech, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes back to people really understanding the connection between NFTs and IP or ownership, and owning your own content or being part of a movement that's creating content. And I think the art alone certainly has massive utility. And I think the fact that we're celebrating beauty in this world and innovations in art in this world in such a massive movement is incredible. And then I think, coupling with that to also offer real life utility, like, a zero-G flight or a suborbital space flight. It's just something else entirely. And so the marriage of the two, and there's been such an amazingly rich history between art and space exploration that I think a lot of people don't know about. And Josh, you can certainly talk to this a little bit, certainly much better than I can. But because space is such a frontier, it has been a frontier for art as well. Maybe, Josh, do you want to chat a little bit about the previous work that Uplift has done on innovating art in space?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of sort of the core foundations of Uplift Aerospace is the belief that creators should be leading the charge, that artists and great thinkers that the first step into space in this new space age needs to be really pushed forward by those people. And that's what we've tried to do as a company with Uplift Aerospace. We've tried to bring in creators and artists and great thinkers to be able to help us make sure that the future is the future that we want to see, and that it's bright and it's exciting and hopeful. Obviously, I think people there's some purists when it comes to space who think space needs to look a certain way, and it's never going to. We're still going to see commercialism. We're going to see economy because it has to. And it also space is our greatest resource. It's going to allow us to preserve and protect the earth. And so there has to be a degree of for-profit business that pushes that, but trying to bring the two together, for-profit and the arts and conservation, you're seeing it much more today with companies is sort of that marriage between for-profit and also making sure that for-profit is looking towards a better future. That's sort of, hopefully that answers your question, Emily, and how and why we have integrated and really been a strong proponent behind bringing art into space. And then maybe to answer your other question, the history of it is really amazing. And it stems back to the Apollo program. Is you've always seen science, I think in general, is an art itself. And I think that's also why scientists and engineers and those type of creators, there's always this collaboration, this desire to collaborate with more traditional artists, is because they're both arts. And I think that's why even in the Apollo program and Mercury and other programs you've seen, or on the International Space Station, there's always been a desire to help support the arts through those programs.
Love that. Thank you so much, Josh. Chris, I did see that you unmuted. Did you want to add your contributions as well?
Oh, I was just going to say what's been so awesome about this project is we focused on the art to be strong enough to where if that's all this was, it would be more than enough to be an awesome drop and an awesome NFT project and just a very cool representation of space. But then we also actually have the real world aerospace utility too. So it's just an insane combo. And that's what got me so excited about it from the beginning when talking to Josh.
Guys, throw up some emojis, some hearts or claps if you guys are loving the sneak peek and are excited for more. I want to do a quick time check. We are going to be closing up this space, but before we do, our disclaimer is nothing shared during this panel discussion is financial advice. Please do your own research and consult a professional investment advisor before making any investment decisions. So as always, DYOR and NFA, guys. This is it's a really fun space, but we encourage everyone to prioritize safety and always, check out the projects and make sure that it is something that is legitimate and check out the team. That's why we do these AMAs, is to let you guys know exactly who we are and that we stand behind this project 1,010%. And we're just so excited to be able to bring space to the public forum. And thank you guys so much for joining us on this incredible adventure so far. And we're only just getting started. Before we close up, so I guess Emily or Josh, how can we stay up to date on more art reveals and announcements?
Yeah, absolutely. By joining our Discord is probably the fastest way to get new information. We really value the community, and they're so active, they're so positive. They really are such champions and supporters of this project. So we can't say enough good things about our Discord community. I actually do have a quick question from Discord that I'm going to field to Michael real quick before we end off the AMA. But I'd say certainly Discord is where things usually go out first, although Twitter is close behind. We have a lot of opportunities for people in the Discord to enter contests, get on the allow list, and get additional rewards and benefits from being a part of this community. So, and someone within our Discord is now singing "We Are the Champions" because of my word choice there. But just, it's such a fun community. We spend almost all day talking to these amazing people. And we are so, so grateful for the culture that's been created within our Discord. So just a huge shout out to our community there. Our Discord link is in our bio on Twitter. So head on over and check out the amazing contests and giveaways and other information that we have in there. And we will be sharing quite a bit out more this week and next week in the Discord and over Twitter as well. Quick question from Michael. I want to make sure that we are getting questions from the Discord and from the community out today. Will avatars be humans, or are there any non-human personas? And this is coming from Metafire. Shout out to Metafire.
Oh man, this is a great question. I can definitely say we explored a ton of options. Definitely androids and even alien species. I mean, you have to, obviously, if you're thinking in this space and a nerd like we are. The current plan is that these will all be meant to be human representations at this point. So I don't want to speak to the future plans of Space Plus definitively one way or the other, but the 120 billion or whatever, yeah, we could technically, I guess, make more avatars than there are humans on the planet at this point easily. So the 5 classes are 5 humanoid classes for now.
And I will say though that the persona, the personality within the AR is really where we explored some of those elements that we didn't incorporate into the actual, genetic makeup, I guess, of the avatars themselves.
Yeah, I do think there is enough variability with the traits, though, that a lot of that fun aspect with the androids that we had originally considered does still come out. And I mean, I've seen some of the ones that Michael from the generator that continue to run that have a very strong Android feel still, which I do love. Like, and that, I guess that's the point is we really have tried to have a really diverse makeup within, and that was the coolest discovery we had within the art is that because of integrating Web3 into our narrative and storyline, we're able to have a really cool diversity that's fun that we've spoken a lot about already, but that people will be able to resonate with. So if there's Android lovers out there, I'm pretty sure you'll still find one of these humanoid based avatars that still has a really cool Android vibe.
Yeah, and to add to that, the avatar that I'm rocking in our internal Slack channel right now, I wish I could share it with you, but it definitely makes me look like a Dragon Ball Z superhero, while still being something that can be a humanoid figure. So you will get quite a bit of representation out there for anything and everything, pretty much. But it is meant to be wrapped around a humanoid figure, essentially.
Guys, loving the alpha here. We're so excited. We like, please stay tuned. Be sure to follow Space Plus, not only on Twitter, but hang out in the Discord as well. If you are just joining us, we are wrapping up. But if you're hanging out in the Discord, we are going to be sourcing community input for even more traits. As if 120 billion variations is not enough. So we would love to see how you guys envision the future and space exploration and what your personal avatar would look like. We would love to see that. So definitely join the community and be part of this incredible mission to build out not only space commerce, but also connect what's happening in space with here on Earth, because at the end of the day, this is the true rocket ship that we're on. Everything else is just kind of for fun. And just one final closing thought, everyone. Like, what are you most excited for with this mint?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see everybody reveal their PFPs. I think it's just going to be such a fun process to go through with the community, for everyone to see what we've been working on for so long in the back end, and really see themselves in the future of humanity in space, because that's absolutely where we're going with this, and that's why our art and the utility for our project is so tethered to reality. It really, we didn't want to gamify everything too much. We really wanted people to see themselves in space, and as part of this future of humanity in space. So that's really where we're going with it, and I can't wait till everyone sees their PFPs and that really hits home.
I'll go next. I've been really appreciative of the community, the positivity. I mean, I'm pretty used to scathing reviews of like movies I've worked on or games I've worked on and everything, and to see that this community is just, I've actually been a little bit fearful that there hasn't been any negatives. Like I've looked for quite a while and haven't seen any negatives. So if you guys could post just a couple of negative things, I feel maybe a little bit better, because it's very atypical. So I am excited for you guys to continue to see stuff, and just for the general positivity of the community. And there's some really cool stuff. I mean, I love the medic class. It is one of my favorites. I think it isn't my favorite. But uh, but it is very close to the top. So I'm just excited for you guys to see these other classes and some of these really out there attributes um, that is yet to be revealed. It'll be cool.
I'll jump in with my thoughts. So this project from the beginning has been about giving access to anybody to space. We had the chance to sort of get a preview of that when we sent some of our community Space Plus community members on the waitlist flight with astronaut Jose Hernandez. For those who haven't seen it, I would recommend jumping in and watching the videos we shared from that. But just to see the like their faces and like the happiness that they experience from being able to be in a weightless environment. Not everybody gets that opportunity in their life, and for us to be able to just help increase that, even if it is just a little bit. So what I look forward to is giving people greater access to space. I think, I mean, what cooler thing can you do? And like what a privilege that is that we get to be a small part of that as a project. I remember some of the people's comments after they experienced weightlessness was basically like, this was pretty much a life-changing event for them. It was something that they'll remember forever and they'll talk about and they'll tell their kids and grandkids about, and like that's what I think sums up Space Plus. And that's a cool yeah, it's just an honor to be a part of something like this.
And Chris, we'll just get your thoughts real quick before we wrap up. I know we've got a minute left, so hopefully we might go a minute over, but that's all right.
So all the same stuff. I can't wait for everybody to see the uniqueness of all the characters and just the full build out. And then just what Josh said too. I think I don't think people have really been paying attention about how cool our real world utility is. The fact that we've already been doing interactions with astronauts and zero G and stuff like that before our token dropped. Imagine after. So it's going to be wild this next couple weeks, and next month is going to be insane.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we are at an hour. It was a pleasure to join you all here in our AMA. We're going to be doing probably weekly AMAs from here on out. We've certainly got a lot to share within the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. We're so grateful for the support and for all of the amazing feedback we've been getting on Twitter and from our community on Discord. And stay tuned. There's tons coming up. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thanks.